Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, in deck number 715, we're going to talk about Nils, the Discipline Enforcer. Now, for 3 mana, we get a 2/2 that this is kind of neat. I like this. It's not your typical mono-white counters build. At the beginning of your end step, for each player, you get to put a 1/1 counter on up to one creature that player controls. Each creature with one or more counters on it can't attack you or your walkers unless they pay for each counter on it. So this is exactly what I want to sit back and I want to make your creatures bigger and let y'all fight it out. If you want to attack me, it's going to cost. So with that in mind, the +1/+1 counter theme is not hard to do in white, so that's kind of where I went, because a lot of those are you can put them on any player's creatures. So I guess first let's get to the ramp, as it were. Now this is a white, considering it is mono white. We have Soul Ring, Star Compass, Prismatic Lens, Guardian Idol, Mind Stone, Marble Diamond. A lot of 2-mana rocks there. And then we move up to 3 with the Tooth of Ramos, Pristine Talisman, Oketra's Monument, because it's a heavy creature deck, right? So we might as well be, buy one, get one. Knight of the White Orchid is pretty standard, and the new version, the Scholarship Sponsor, it helps out everybody. So now, we don't have a whole lot of card draw. We got our Bygone Bishop, but before we get to the creatures, the Cathar's Crusade is in here. I mean, it's just, on each creature you control. So, here are our +1 counter creatures. Well, actually, we'll do the +1 counter creatures first, and then we'll come in with the other ones that I just wanted in there. Champion of the Parish. The human thing, but we're not humans. We've got some humans. This may be a slot. Sin's Tactician. I like that it says target soldier. Yeah, each creature with a 1/1 counter you control can block an additional creature. That's great. But on target soldiers, on the off chance that our opponent has soldiers, we can mound counters up on them. That way they're bigger and thus accomplishing what our commander's trying to do. Tempered Veteran. Here again, you can put counters on your opponent's stuff. Normally, it's a weird thing to say, because normally we don't want to make our opponent's creatures bigger. But the bigger they are, the more they got to pay to attack us. So I come real close to an Armageddon, but no. The Bondkin. All our countered creatures have first strike. The Falconer, now they have flying. Thaddeus Lieutenant's another human and another soldier, so, Jubilant Mascot. Now, I like support as a mechanic. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may pay 4, which is a lot, let's face it. Support 2. It's put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 other target creatures. So you can support your opponent's creatures. This is not a thing that normally comes up, because normally that's not a thing that we want to do. Resolve Advocist. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player may put 2 1/1 counters. Y'all knew this was in there, right? Basri's Lieutenant. Hey, he's human. Enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Meadow Boon. You can evoke it, and when it leaves play, you put a 1/1 counter on each creature target player controls. There again, we can make somebody's entire team bigger and thus less of a threat to us. A Dueling Coach. 1/1 counter on target creature. High Sentinels of Arashan on target creature. See, that was the cards I tried to look for. And then I just went crazy with like Thopter Squadron, because it comes into play with 3 counters on it. And with Cathar's Crusade here, it gets kind of really, really funny, because you can spend a mana, remove a +1 counter to get a Thopter, sack the Thopter to put 2 counters on it. So Yeah, but very mana intensive. Sunscorched Regent. An opponent casts a spell. This gets bigger. I like that. Patron of the Valiant. On each creature you control with a counter already on it. Supply Runners. Dearly Departed. Kind of works with the human thing. Light of the Legion. I figured we needed some kind of Air Force on each white creature you control, which is pretty much going to be most of them. Had to do Machias, right? I mean, had to. Machias is just too good of a card to not be in there. Other creatures that I just wanted in there, I just wanted White Knight for that protection from black. And I was like, well, as I was looking in that box, Silver Knight was right next to it. And then Knight of the Holy Nimbus. I promise you it's not a Knight deck. Celestial Crusader, just because it's an anthem on a flying body. So we are depending on our commander quite a bit. So we got to protect our commander, We have Whisper Silk Cloak, Swiftfoot Boots, Brave the Elements to give all of our stuff, We have to Rebuff the Wicked, which is, I think, one of the better counter spells in the game because nobody ever sees it coming. Trying out a couple of new cards. Promise of Loyalty puts a vow counter on a creature. That it doesn't matter what kind of counter is on their creature, just that there's a counter. So they can have vow counters and +1 counters, and heck, I don't even care. I'll pass out divinity counters if I had a way. Each of those creatures can't attack you or walkers you control for as long as it has a vow counter on it. That's exactly what we're trying to do. Monologue tax. I hear this is good. I've got the one copy because it was in the one commander deck, but I don't know. It's not Rhystic Study. It's not. It's not even Smothering Tithe, I don't think. But it's pretty decent. Let's see, our other stuff that adds counters, right? Ordeal of Heliod. Okay. Basri Solidarity, which is a great rate. 2 mana for, a counter on the whole team. Long Road Home. That's another way to protect our commander. Instant, boop, it's gone, and now it's back, and it's got a counter on it. So, Together Forever. Support. Yeah. And it's very political. You can use it to save your stuff, and you can, good old-fashioned Dragon Blood. Just put a counter on a creature. Why not, right? A Johnny's Influence. 2 counters on target creature. You may reveal a white card from among them and put it in your hand. So that it's, odds are you're going to find a white card in a mono-white deck. Citadel Siege. At the beginning of combat, 2 counters on a creature you control. Collective Effort, we skip all the way down to the last mode to put a 1/1 counter on each creature target player controls. You can target yourself, you can target an opponent. That's what's beautiful. And before we get into the removal, I've got other randoms. Ethereal Haze is just a good card. Marshall's Anthem, bring back some of those creatures that we will eventually lose. Armored Ascension, mono white, what can you do? Ashnod's Transmogrant. It puts a counter on something, and it turns it into an artifact. So it is susceptible to the Naturalized Disenchant, whatever. Yeah. And then our last weird card, Ice and Highway. All white creatures gain Planeswalker. Now, this is obviously a creature-heavy deck. And if somebody's got a Plains, they're just having a bad day. So, removal. Let's see what we've got here. We'll start with a Sword to Plowshare, Condemn, Celestial Purge, Disenchant, Oblivion Ring, Crib Swap, and lastly, Mass Calcify. Now, our non-basic lands, you guessed it, there's actually more than you would think being in here. Karn's Bastion, we got to have that, free roll proliferate. I say free, it costs us, essentially 5 mana to do it, but if we're doing nothing else, and we kind of want to proliferate our opponent's creatures so that it makes them more expensive to come at us. I guess on the surface this may look like mono white group hug, but it's mono white. Look at what's going on over there. Rogue's Passage, of course, going to help. Some cycling lands, the Drifting Meadow, Secluded Steppe, Field of Ruin. Gotta take out those non-basics, man. Forbidding Watchtower, decent card. It's a blocker in a pinch. Emergent Zone. Sometimes you gotta have things right now. And then our last card is the Tyrite Sanctum. That way, target legendary creature becomes a god. Does not say you control. Yep. And then you can sack it to put an indestructible counter on target god. So, you can make a deal with somebody's commander that you really don't want to hit you. I'd do this all day long if somebody had an Avacyn in play. You go right ahead. Avacyn's god. She's indestructible. I'd be mounted up every kind of counter on her I could. But that is what we have got for today for number 715, along with copious amounts of basic planes. So we will throw it on there and go over here and put 715 on the wall like we do. And apparently my attic is down. Super weird. 715. That's what happens when you have so many kids. You just don't know. But I do appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. And right now, I think we're going to shuffle and cut.